An ideal UFO witness would have good eyesight, no financial agenda for making a story up, and no preconceptions. For these reasons, reliable UFO witnesses are not always easy to find.
You know, John, that's true, but maybe people have been looking in the wrong places. Recently, as part of our ongoing investigation, Encounters went looking in the right place and spoke with children who are convinced they saw a UFO. Here's our story. For more than 4 decades, children have been reporting UFO sightings. These wide-eyed observers offer a unique perspective on this unusual phenomenon.
And it came this way, and then first it was going real slow, and then it just took off. Boom!
There's 2 of them up there. Hold on. Look at them, flashing. They're flashing.
Hampton, Georgia, is a small town near Atlanta.
Hello.
It was in this well-kept trailer park that a group of ordinary school children encountered a UFO. What'd you say?
I looked up at the trees and there was this thing floating up there.
I saw something up there and I didn't quite know what it was, and I asked Shannon, I said, what is that? And she said she don't know. And I hollered at Chris.
She jumped up and said UFO, so I jumped up and I looked and I saw something black. It was hovering right over the building, but it was real high in the sky. So it hovered right across the over in the sky and over to the radio tower.
We were screaming.
You were screaming?
Yeah.
I just sort of, I screamed a little bit, but I just sort of was in shock when I never seen anything like it.
This incident was investigated by Michael Norris, an Air Force veteran and chief editor of UFO Encounters. Now, this craft that they described, is this a craft that you've had reportings of before in this area?
What's interesting is when we started to report about this particular sighting, and we actually published some of the pictures and drawings that the children had made, I got some calls from people from other parts of the country saying, you know, we've seen this come up before. We have people who say they've also described this same shape, size, with the lights, but yet when you go to officials, whether the FAA or your military bases or the airports, that there is nothing in conventional aircraft that we know of that could explain what it is they saw.
The UFO vanished within seconds, but these children will feel the effects of this encounter for a very long time, and more than one will bear the scars of public ridicule. So when you walked into the school and you saw the principal and the teachers laughing at the children's experience, how did you feel?
Made me mad. Made me very mad. I saw that principal laughing at those kids and joking around, and I asked him, I said, look at these kids. Can't you tell by looking at them there's something wrong?
Sighting a UFO and being ridiculed for reporting it is upsetting enough for a child. What's far worse is a close encounter of a different kind, alien abduction. Justin, a 10-year-old living in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, describes his first alien encounter.
I fell asleep, and then I woke up a little bit later, early in the morning, and I saw these gray beings. And I was just laying there. Then I felt like a device, something around my wrists, my neck, and my ankle.
For children who've always relied on adults to protect them, these encounters can be traumatic, but kids aren't the only ones affected. Their parents suffer just as much from feelings of helplessness and fear. Having your child abducted is terrifying no matter who or what is doing it.
It's like any other abduction, If some man or some guy with a ski mask would come in your house and take your child, the only difference between your child and mine is mine comes back.
When we come back, the terrifying stories of children who are convinced they have been abducted by aliens. Stay with us.
When we return, what sinister plan do the extraterrestrials have for our children?
The aliens are essentially trying to create a hybrid mix of themselves and ourselves.
Our startling investigation continues next.
Many children are convinced they have seen UFOs, and a few of these witnesses also believe they have been abducted by aliens.
Author Bud Hopkins was one of the first researchers to investigate the abduction phenomenon, and he believes these children are among the most credible witnesses he has ever interviewed. From the Midwest to New York, these stories of alien visitations are strikingly similar. Manhattan-based writer Bud Hopkins has researched thousands of alleged alien abductions.
What has emerged through many, many cases is the idea that the aliens are essentially trying to create a hybrid mix of themselves and ourselves. They're interested in our DNA, our genetic makeup, and beyond that, they're interested in our personalities, our affection for our children, our love for one another, a whole kind of range of what we think of almost the most human characteristics we have emotionally.
One of his most remarkable cases is that of John Cortelia, an 11-year-old boy from New York's Lower East Side.
When it happened, I had woke up from my sleep, and I had the sudden urge to look out the window in my living room. So I got out of my bed, and I just, went into my living room. I looked out the window, and I saw something emerging from the water. So I didn't know what it was. I just watched it as it came toward my window. And as my mother passed me, I was screaming, and she didn't even hear me. So this thing just pulled me through the window.
John claims that these aliens took him aboard a UFO.
They just took me into the door, and I was just laid down onto my stomach looking out these windows. I do remember some sort of a scraping with a sort of long rounded object, sort of like a knife, scraping me or scratching me with it, trying to hurt me or something. I woke up the next morning like it was a dream, only though I knew it wasn't a dream.
Skeptics claim that abduction stories are the product of a child's active imagination, but Bud Hopkins has developed an elaborate system of tests to prove these skeptics wrong.
I developed the Hopkins image recognition test a number of years ago because I felt that a projective test based on simple images and checking the child's response would be a very viable way of looking into their experiences. So I show these children first Santa Claus, and we go through Batman and clowns and police and so on. When we come to the alien out of 10 pictures, which is very neutral, we just listen to what the child says, how the child responds. I have seen a child absolutely fold up in tears, hide herself in her father's lap crying, "I don't want that man in my dreams. That's the man who takes me away."
Fortunately, these traumatized and bewildered families have the support of concerned experts. Newport Beach, California is the home of Dr. Deborah Trincala. She specializes in the counseling of alien abductees.
I think it's very important that we look at children who've had anomalous experiences in the following way. We need to listen to them. We need to understand that from their world, they don't have a handle on what's happened. They need to have a sense of control over their lives to the degree that they can handle that. That's part of their development. And so we have to be attentive to that need.
If these encounters are the results of some bizarre alien experiment, why are our children being targeted? And when these children grow up, how will the experiment be concluded? All we and they can do is wait.
Now, Sandra, you'll have to admit that most children have pretty active imaginations, and you put that together with all the TV they watch.
John, that may be true to some degree, but it's wrong to assume that children would go out of their way to make these kinds of stories up. In fact, joining us tonight are 3 cases in point. They are members of the UFO Investigators and Other Strange Phenomenon Club, all the way from Virginia. They are Wesley Frank, Jonathan Pine, and Kevin Trobaugh. Welcome. Now, you just saw a story. Those children sighted a UFO, told their friends at school, and were ridiculed. They were laughed at. Do you guys believe in UFOs?
Oh, yeah.
If you do see a UFO, what do you do as investigators?
We ask people of that area where we saw it if they saw the same thing.
What do you say to kids who say, "Oh, you're making it all up"? Kevin?
Well, maybe they don't believe in UFOs, but we do, and we think we saw one. So, we tell them, and if they don't believe us, they don't believe us.
Right. What about you, Wesley?
If I believe there's, UFOs and stuff, then that's all that matters to me.
Well, keep looking at the skies. We're glad that you care, and good luck with your investigations. We'll be right back.
Coming up next.
Nobody really knows why these extraterrestrials are here.
Has an attempt to contact alien intelligence led to a close encounter with a UFO?
It was stationary and it was sending out the primary colors that had just been sent out by the laser.
Have you ever wondered what you would do if you saw a UFO? Would you have the presence of mind to observe closely, or would you take off in the opposite direction?
Well, the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence knows what they would do. Their motto could be taken from the Boy Scouts: be prepared.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Washington, London, Paris, Moscow are key targets. The whole world is under attack.
In the 1950s, visitors from outer space had a straightforward agenda: mass destruction, planetary enslavement, and the equal opportunity employment of nasty death rays. But yesterday's bug-eyed monsters are today's extraterrestrials, and eyewitnesses believe that the day of alien contact is drawing near, if it already hasn't occurred.
I'm convinced that there is a small faction within our government that has been grappling for nearly 50 years with the problem of eventual disclosures of alien contact on this planet. I think they've been in possession of information that has convinced them that aliens or non-human intelligence has reached this planet quite some time ago.
Dr. Steven Greer isn't waiting for the government to issue him an extraterrestrial passport. He is the head of the Center for the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, or CSETI. This organization is getting ready for an event they feel is inevitable: the day we first make contact.
Preparing people for this kind of contact, the human dimension is the most difficult one. We were in England in 1992, and we were able to vector one of these objects. It was a large 150-foot diameter disc with a dome or cupola on top. You know, God is my witness, this was an extraordinary event. But when you've locked on, you have signaled to it, it has signaled back, it's changed course, and it's coming in towards you. This is when you realize that, my God, they see us and they're coming.
Dr. Greer founded CSETI in 1990. Over the years, they have refined their stated mission.
Trying to establish contact with the life forms on board these objects. And this is very important. CSETI really isn't interested in the UFOs. We're interested in the occupants or the intelligence or the beings behind the UFOs.
All of CSETI's efforts have one ultimate intention:
to try to get one to land and eventually, if possible, to get a boarding party on board one of these objects.
Encounters asked CSETI if they would take us on one of their UFO expeditions, and they agreed. Before we left, we met with their team of human ambassadors.
I'm real excited about it. Just be careful, you know.
Caroline O'Patry is excited. She believes there is a chance she will make direct contact with extraterrestrials, but she plans on taking things one step at a time.
The game plan is, should there be a sighting and should we be locked on in such a way that the ETI would choose to land and make contact with us, we would be ready to do so.
I guess I should take my own flashlight just in case. And I don't know what the weather's going to be like. It's so hot now, but I probably better take my heavy coat.
She has learned to put her fears aside and approach contact with an open mind.
Whatever you fear or revere, you draw to you. So I don't want to come from fear. Come, be peaceful. You will attract peaceful entities. And what's exciting about CSETI to me is this repeated philosophy of non-hostility, of being diplomats for peace, of being a liaison with humankind and extraterrestrial intelligence. Come on, you guys, we got to hurry.
Okay, you have to be there. Going to San Fernando Valley, is that where it is?
No, Topanga Canyon.
Am I emotionally prepared to go on board a UFO? I don't know. I like to think that I am. But then again, I know, because of the people I've talked to, that seeing a UFO is not always fun. It's scary. For so long, I had thought that UFOs weren't real. I thought they were figments of people's imaginations. That for me to suddenly reverse my opinions caused literally a breakdown in my whole system of beliefs. And it wasn't fun. I eventually had to face the fact that UFOs were here.
Nobody really knows why these extraterrestrials are here. However, there's not a scintilla of evidence that their net motives for being here are hostile or oriented towards harming life on this planet.
We are now, I think, in the process of looking at the world differently. We're beginning to see everything interconnected. And that's not just on this earth, it's the whole universe.
CSETI wants the government to release all information about alien encounters.
The idea behind Project Starlight is to brief leaders in society and to encourage them to try to bring out the definitive evidence which we believe exists and to finally confirm the fact that we have detected extraterrestrial life forms.
Why would the government cover up alien contact? I think they're coming from a mentality that arose in the mid-40s when we actually believed we were being invaded from space. We couldn't handle the technology we were seeing, that the government would try to keep this secret until they could understand the nature of their challenge. And today, we have 50 years of momentum that's very hard to break.
What we do not have is anyone in an important position in government saying the U.S. government has this knowledge and we're officially declaring an interest in this and want to share this with the public. Several of us are urging the Clinton administration to review that policy.
Meanwhile, emotions were high as we reached our contact site.
God, this is a great location. How did you happen to choose it?
It's an open area, meaning that you have good visibility of the sky, and in addition to that, we've got some good areas where we can land out, put out landing beacons.
What about this side right here? Go back a little bit.
Closest we can get to a circle and kind of do a briefing here. Enter an entry log on this. This is dictation at Topanga State Park in Los Angeles County. We want to also put all of our names and contact numbers for who you can have contacted in the microcassette recorder for the documentation person.
Preston Dennett, contact Christine Dennett.
Dr. Joe Burks, contact Yael Burks.
Dixie Sullivan, contact my office.
We want to establish the various positions. We want to number off so that in the event that there is a landing, we know in what order we'll approach the craft. So I'll be boarding party member number 1. Joe, you want to be number 2? Dixie?
3.
The last thing we want to do at this point is to determine where the landing site should be in the event that we're able to vector a craft in at close range.
Everyone has arrived here at Topanga Canyon, and there's a real sense of excitement in the air. The CSETI members are preparing their laser lights, audio equipment, telescopes, and binoculars, and in a few minutes, we'll start signaling. If we're lucky, something out there just may answer our call.
So what we're going to do is project these tones with a radio transceiver. Please put out the landing strobes.
We waited for hours, sending out tones and laser light beacons into the darkness. Then suddenly, someone spotted a strange light. But before we could turn on our camera, it disappeared. But moments later, it reappeared on the horizon.
Oh, there it is again.
It's back again.
There it is again.
Very bright colors, the same one, the same red and green the laser was putting out. Oh my God. This is no airplane. At 9:45, we have an object about 5 degrees above the ridge in the west that was probably out over the Pacific Ocean. It was stationary, and it was sending out the primary colors that had just been sent out by the laser. And we've got a commercial jet pilot with us, and this is very unusual.
So did we or did we not see something?
Yeah, that was.
And how rare is that?
It happens virtually every time we go out if we're doing the right stuff.
Preston, did we have a close encounter tonight?
I think we may have. No, this sort of thing has happened before. And of course, we prefer to call them unknowns, if we're up close in a metallic ship. That would be a different story. But nevertheless, it's exciting, and I'm pleased.
This is your first time? What was it?
This is my first time with this. Oh, it's excellent. I want to stay here all night. I don't want to leave.
I want to see what that was over there. We saw something tonight. We don't know what it was, but as long as human beings claim to be meeting extraterrestrials, CSETI will be trying to make contact.
Most of us already know that we're not alone in the universe. This is simply a step further where we're saying, not only are we not alone, but those life forms that may be out there, a few of them have made their way into our corner of the universe.
Sandra, I am very curious. Do you really think you saw a UFO?
Well, John, I saw something flying and nobody can identify it, so I guess you'd have to say I did see a UFO. Unfortunately, the videotape really didn't do our encounter justice.
Encounters will be right back.
If you would like to contact us here at Encounters, write to Encounters, P.O. Box 36B47, Los Angeles, California, 90036. To contact us by phone, call 213-525-1UFO. That's 213-525-1836. Or to contact us online, visit the Encounters forum on CompuServe by typing Go Encounters or the following number. And thank you for your interest in Encounters.
It's been said that the finite mind cannot hope to understand the infinite. The stories we've seen this evening illustrate the truth in that saying. And we hope that we've given you something to think about and helped you come closer to unraveling the hidden truth. I'm John Marshall. Good night.